Aries, welcome. If you're hearing these words, it's not by accident. The universe is sending you a sign, a message meant for you right here, right now. In the next 7 days, something could happen that changes the way you see yourself and the way you see life itself. So sit back. Take a deep breath, because what I'm about to share is not just an astrology story. It's a journey to understand why what falls apart is never the end, but a doorway opening to something new. And that is where we step into the very first chapter of this path together. Aries, take a breath. This message did not come by accident. Give yourself a pause. Let your breath move in and out slowly, deeply. Because in the rush of daily life, we often forget we need just one moment of stillness to hear the true voice within. And today, as you stop here, as you open your heart to listen, know this is not random. The universe has led you to this moment because there is a message your soul has been waiting for. There are days when you look around and everything feels like it's cracking. What you thought would last forever suddenly falls apart. A job, a relationship, a belief you once trusted, gone right before your eyes. You may have asked yourself, why me? Why does everything leave right when I need it the most? Those questions, Aries, are not yours alone. They are the questions of anyone who has walked through the dark night of the soul when the light seems so far away. But let me share a different view. Breaking is not punishment. Breaking is not the end. It is a beginning disguised. When the ground splits open, a seed finally has space to grow. When the old house crumbles, the foundation is cleared for something stronger. No one can build a castle on rotten earth. And sometimes life must take away so you can rebuild, this time on a ground that is pure, steady, and truly yours. Aries, you were not born to live among ashes. Your fire was not made to warm a passing winter night. It was made to blaze like a torch, guiding the way. The collapse you went through, the moments you hit rock bottom, they were never meant to trap you in despair. They came to awaken you, to stir the raw power you forgot was still burning in your chest. Think back to your hardest days, the days you thought you couldn't go on, and yet somehow you still stood. You still walked forward. That was not weakness. That was proof of the strength you've always carried. And in those very moments, your soul was being reforged, cleansed, prepared for a new path ahead. Here's the mystery of life. When we lose what we thought we could never live without, we finally realize we were always enough. You, with everything you've endured, stand as proof of one truth. You are not defined by what leaves you, but by how you rise after it all. Aries, imagine the storm has passed. Branches broken, the ground covered in fallen leaves, but the sky clear, impossibly blue, sunlight pouring in, warming the earth, waking hidden seeds below. That is you now. Every ending, every fall was preparing the ground for your dawn, for a chapter where you do more than survive, you finally begin to live. Do not fear when things fall away. Do not believe the universe has abandoned you. It is clearing space for what you truly deserve. Loss, pain, betrayal are just the old leaves that must fall so the tree can bloom again. And you, Aries, are that tree reaching, stretching toward the light. Deep down, you know, you were never meant to stay small. You came here to leave a mark, to blaze with your own power, your own light. But before that could happen, what no longer fits had to collapse. See it as a sacred ritual, a step you cannot skip on the way to becoming whole. And then in the moment you think you've lost everything, a new door appears. A door you couldn't see while standing in the ruins. That is the gift of letting go. Each time you release a weight, an illusion, a fear, the universe places something better in your hands, something truer, something that belongs to you. Aries, take a breath again. Feel the breaking, not as your enemy, but as your guide. And in just 7 days, this very collapse will uncover something shocking. It will open the space for your hidden fortune to finally arrive. And in just 7 days, Aries, this breaking apart will reveal something shocking, the space for your hidden fortune to emerge. In the next 7 days, right in the place you still call home, something unexpected will appear. It might be a message, a door opening, or simply a small moment that makes your heart stop for a beat. Sometimes the biggest changes don't come from faraway journeys. They come from the very place where you sit every day, inside the same 4 familiar walls. And it's that closeness that makes it so powerful, because it reminds you that life doesn't only shift outside. It transforms inside your home and inside your soul. Picture a quiet morning. You pour a cup of coffee, open the window, and sunlight streams in. Everything feels ordinary. But then a text, a phone call, a sudden word spoken in that familiar space, and suddenly what you thought was certain begins to move. It could be an invitation to collaborate, a financial opportunity, a confession that changes a relationship, or maybe it's simply a silent moment when you realize you no longer want to live the way you did before. A house is not just a shelter, it's a mirror of your inner world. When your heart begins to change, the space around you shifts too. A picture on the wall stirs an old memory. An object gathering dust whispers that it's time to let go. Every small signal in your home can become a secret language, a way the universe chooses to speak to you. There's a saying, sometimes the greatest blessings walk through the same door where yesterday's sorrows left. And it's true. The place where pain once stepped out can be the same place where blessings enter. One person leaves and space opens for a new connection. One opportunity closes and another comes knocking. Just like your home, when someone goes, the emptiness may feel cold, but that very emptiness is the room where something new can be born. If you've known loss in your family or relationships, you know how silence can feel unbearable. But silence never lasts forever. It's like a seed lying still in the earth, waiting for the right season, the right rain to rise again. In the next 7 days, such a seed may sprout in your life. It could be a financial chance that restores your hope. It could be the mending of a relationship once thought broken. Or it could be a powerful awakening, reminding you that you are ready to step into a new chapter. The lesson is clear: real change often begins in the inner home of the soul. You can't expect the world to shift if your own heart is still locked. The home you live in is only a reflection of the home within. When you clear out doubt, old pain, and what no longer serves you, you open the door for blessings to walk in. That's why the surprise won't just appear outside. It begins inside. It's the moment you look around and realize you no longer want to live in the past. It's the moment you see you are strong enough to move through fear, wise enough to recognize your true worth. And once your heart opens, the universe does the rest. It brings people, opportunities, and messages you never expected. If someone asked me why the greatest surprises happen at home, I'd say, because home is the one place you can't hide from yourself. Outside, you can wear masks. But in your own house, you are just you with all your pain and all your hope. That is when the universe can touch you most easily because your guard is down. You stand in your raw truth, and that truth is the doorway to miracles. So welcome the next 7 days as if you're about to be handed a gift. You don't need to search for it in distant places. Pay attention to the familiar spaces, to the familiar faces, and most of all to the steady rhythm of your own heart, because that is where the surprise will rise. And yes, it may shake you, but not to destroy. It comes to remind you that you are ready for a new chapter, brighter, more honest, more alive. And as this shift arrives, the universe whispers, what is truly yours can never be taken away. There's something we often forget when we walk through the storms of life. Nothing comes to us by chance. The universe is not a coin toss. Everything that happens carries a deeper order, a justice beyond what our eyes can see. When we stand in the middle of loss, it's easy to believe fate is unfair, that we've been abandoned. But when we look back after a long road, we begin to see every step, even the painful ones, was part of a sacred design. The justice of the universe is not the same as human justice. It doesn't always arrive right away. It's not always clear to the eye, but it always arrives. Like spring, it never fails to follow a long winter. When the branches stand bare, you might think life is gone, but given time, green shoots always break through what once looked dry. That is how the universe works. It takes away what no longer belongs to you so it can give you what your soul truly needs. Maybe you've known betrayal, a separation, endless days that felt swallowed by loneliness. You've wondered why your heart had to carry so much. But here's a truth. Sometimes the leaving itself is a blessing. The one who walked away cleared the path for the right one to appear. The door that closed opened a road to something greater. The loss made space for blessings to arrive. There's a phrase I want you to hold close. What belongs to you, Aries, will always find its way home. What is truly yours can never be lost. It may be delayed, it may wander, but in the end it always returns. That is the sacred justice no one and nothing can touch. And if you doubt it, think back to a time when you lost something and it broke you. only to later realize it was the very turning point that carried you toward a better life. Maybe it was a job you no longer had, but losing it led you to the work that matched your passion. Maybe it was a love that ended so you could meet the one who truly saw you and cherished you. Maybe it was a bitter failure, but that failure carried the lesson that built your lasting success. Every story like this proves the universe has always known how to guide you back to your path. So I want to invite you pause for a moment. Let your memory take you to one of those times, a moment when you thought you lost everything, but then something better appeared. Share that story in the comments, because when you speak it out loud, you don't just remind yourself, you inspire others still walking through the darkness you once survived. Sacred justice is not only about restoring balance. It's the way the universe shows your soul you are worthy of what is whole, what is lasting, what truly belongs. It has never abandoned you, even when the tests have stretched you to the edge. So trust, blessings are on their way, not to replace what you lost, but to lift you higher, to raise you to a new place, because blessings never travel alone. They arrive with love, with healing, and with the souls who will appear at just the right time to hold you up. But blessings do not come alone, they arrive with love that heals and transforms. In the moment you believe your heart has closed tight, when you think nothing could ever awaken the flame of love inside you, a new energy may enter. Sometimes it's a person you never expected. Sometimes it's the return of a familiar face, carrying a different gaze now, wiser, steadier, softer. And sometimes it's simply the awakening within yourself, realizing you've always held an endless capacity to love. You just never allowed it to shine freely before. Real love doesn't come to patch the empty spaces. It's not a bandage to cover the wounds. It comes to walk beside you, to hold you up, to make your wholeness undeniable. The one who steps into your next chapter will not ask you to shrink. They will honor the flame that you are. They will see you in your full radiance and cherish that fire as a guiding light. When we talk about love, we often think of searching. We chase after shadows, hoping someone will fill the void. But the truth is, no one can do that unless you've learned to love yourself first. Every honest relationship begins on one foundation: the respect and tenderness you give yourself. When you know how to hold the broken pieces of your heart, when you can forgive your own mistakes, when you look at yourself through the eyes of compassion, then love from the outside finally has space to bloom. Picture a garden. If the soil is neglected, if weeds still cover the ground, the seed of love will struggle to grow. But when you tend the soil within, when you clear away fear and judgment with patience, then one day the flower of love will bloom. It may bloom through someone new. It may bloom through an old connection who returns after their own healing, showing up now in a different form. Reborn love isn't only about romance. It might be a friendship rekindled after many years apart. It might be a new understanding between family members. It might be the forgiveness you finally extend to someone who once hurt you. Or it might be the long-awaited bond with your own soul. When a connection is reborn, it carries a pure energy like fresh water flowing through dry land. It cleanses, it revives, it makes everything come alive again. Aries, you must remember this: true love never comes to make you lose yourself. It comes to expand you. It comes to help you grow in freedom, to let you be fully yourself, while still being accepted and cherished. A healthy love is like two flames burning side by side, not consuming each other, but warming the whole space. In the days ahead, you may feel a new breeze. It might arrive in a passing smile, in a conversation that seems ordinary but touches something deep in your heart. Don't be surprised if your chest stirs again. Don't be afraid if an old memory rises and makes you tremble, because often, in the most unexpected moments, love is reborn and soul connections find their way back. The lesson is clear: real love begins when you learn to love yourself, when you sit with your pain instead of running, when you are gentle with yourself instead of harsh, when you dare to stand tall in your truth instead of hiding it. That's when you create the space for a love worthy of you to step in. Reborn love won't come as a magic cure for all problems. It comes like a gentle hand resting on your shoulder, reminding you that you no longer have to walk alone. It doesn't take away your independence, it affirms that you are strong enough to choose a true companion. And yet, Aries, the greatest love you'll ever discover is not outside, but within. There are moments when you think the treasure of life lies out there, in possessions, in work, in the admiring eyes of others. But the more you chase, the more breathless you feel, the more empty you become. Until one day you realize the real treasure is not beyond that door, it has been inside you all along. Inner awakening doesn't arrive with noise. It comes like a quiet light, slipping into the cracks where you once broke apart, like dawn pouring into a forest after the storm, touching every leaf still heavy with rain, and you know new life is beginning. That is the image of your soul, Aries, in this very moment. The greatest rebirth isn't measured by money or achievements. It's measured by how deeply you've learned to live true to yourself. Are you still chasing what makes you small? Are you still shrinking to fit someone else's expectations? Or have you finally stood tall, lifted your head high, and said no to what no longer belongs to your soul? Your hidden fortune isn't just luck or wealth or opportunity. It is the peace of no longer pretending. Your hidden fortune is not just money or success. It is the peace of finally being whole. It's the moment you touch your own completeness. The moment you know that no matter what you lose, you are still enough. And in this awakening, you'll hear the whisper of God, not in grand ceremonies, but in the simple rhythm of your breath. In the moment you forgive, He is there. In the moment you let go, He is there. In the loving gaze you give yourself, He is still there. As if He is saying, you don't have to prove anything. You have always been enough, and I have always seen you. Awakening is the journey back to that voice. And when you accept this invitation, abundance truly opens. Not just the abundance of money, but of love, of health, of faith, of connections that nourish your soul. Every time you say no to what makes you small, you are saying yes to a larger space where abundance can enter. Yes, you may receive a financial opportunity. Yes, your career may shift direction. But remember, those are only reflections of a deeper truth. True prosperity begins inside. Only a whole heart can create a whole life. So I invite you now, pause for a moment. Place your hand over your chest and whisper, I am ready to receive what is mine. Write those words in the comments, not just to remind yourself, but to release that energy into our community. When you declare it, you open the door. And when you open the door, blessings will find their way to you. Aries, your treasure is not numbers on a page. It's the strength to stand after you've fallen. It's the freedom of no longer being bound by old beliefs. It's the joy of knowing the light within you is enough to guide every step forward. But remember, awakening is not the end. It is the beginning of another test. Because when you step into the light, darkness may try to return. Old faces, old situations, old voices, they may show up again just to see if you've truly changed. And this is when you must stand firm. Because with awakening comes a test, and not everyone who returns is meant to stay. Time has a strange way of testing us. Just when you think you've gone far enough, when you believe the past is only closed pages, suddenly old shadows return, an unexpected call, a familiar message. Someone you once loved, once trusted, someone you cried for until no tears were left. Or a situation that once pulled you into exhaustion, now showing up in a new disguise. This is not coincidence. This is the universe checking, have you truly changed? Do you still let the past lead you? Or are you brave enough now to walk the path of freedom? Not everything that comes back is a blessing. Sometimes it's an invisible rope, pulling you toward the same darkness you once fought to escape. It's like a door that looks familiar, leading back to the old house, filled with memories, yes, but also with wounds. If you step through, you'll see it all again, but you'll also find yourself trapped in the same endless loop. Aries, courage is not only measured by how you fight or how you stand tall. True courage is when you know how to let go, when you can tell yourself, I don't need to go back. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to betray my soul just to belong to a place that no longer fits me. True freedom begins when you no longer betray yourself just to belong. And that, Aries, is the boundary of a maturing soul. You'll realize the greatest challenge is not defeating someone else. It's resisting the temptation to walk the old path again. Sometimes you'll hear a voice whispering, come back, it's safer here, more familiar. But ask yourself, what kind of safety makes you smaller? What kind of familiarity makes you lose your light? This is the moment of choice. You can repeat the old cycle, or you can step forward into freedom, a place where you breathe in your own rhythm, live by your own flame. And this choice, Aries, will shape the rest of your journey. Remember, freedom does not mean loneliness. Freedom means you're no longer bound to what hurts you. It means you can love without losing yourself. It means you can give without betraying your inner truth. Maybe you'll need a moment of silence to face yourself honestly. Let that silence cover you as if you're sitting in a room with only one candle, and that candle is your heart. Look into that light and ask yourself, what do I choose today? Do I choose freedom or do I choose the cycle? The answer is there, not far away. The universe will not force you to choose. It simply places two roads in front of you. One leads back, safe, predictable, but lifeless, where you know every step and every pain. The other is freedom, wide open, uncertain, mysterious, but it's the only place where you are truly alive. Aries, this choice is not easy, but you've come too far to turn back. You've risen from the ruins. You've tasted sacred justice. You've discovered what real love feels like. Now, the challenge is no longer about worthiness. It's only this: are you willing to choose yourself? And trust this, when you choose freedom, when you choose honesty with your own soul, every other door will open. The people meant for you will appear. The opportunities meant for you will find you. And the light you carry will not only guide your steps, but will shine for others still searching for the same courage. And as you step into this courage, Aries, the universe prepares the final revelation of your journey. Aries, after all the losses, the challenges, after every crossroads where you had to choose, one truth has become clearer than ever. The treasure you've been searching for was never outside. It's not just money. It's not just romance. It's not praise or recognition from the world. The real treasure lies within you in the moment you dare to live true to your soul. The final treasure doesn't arrive as gold or jewels. It comes as a quiet morning, when you open your eyes and realize you're still whole. When you step out of bed, no longer afraid of what waits ahead. When you look into the mirror and see a person who is not perfect, but free, complete, and unafraid to be seen. The greatest wealth is when you make peace with yourself, when you can look back at old mistakes with no regret, only lessons, when you remember those who once hurt you and feel no anger, only the growth they left behind, and when you think about the future with no fear, only an open door. Your hidden fortune is this: to wake up each day free, whole, and unafraid to shine. That is the treasure no one can ever take. No betrayal, no loss, no judgment can touch that peace. Aries, living true to yourself is not an easy road. It may bring misunderstanding. It may cost you people who no longer share your frequency. It may force you to release false safeties. But in return, you gain a peace no condition can buy. You gain a freedom no wall can contain. You gain love that begins in your own heart and flows outward to touch the world. The final treasure is this: you no longer need permission to be yourself. You don't shrink to fit someone else's comfort. You don't dim your light out of fear it's too bright. You simply breathe alive and shine the way you were born to. And in that moment, you touch the true wealth of your soul. I want to invite you to pause and make a commitment to yourself. In the next 7 days, what will you do to live more true? What will you choose to show that you are ready for a life of freedom and wholeness? Share that promise in the comments, not only to remind yourself, but to inspire other hearts listening on this same path. The final treasure never rests in someone else's hands. It's found in the choices you make each day. When you choose truth over illusion, when you choose courage over fear, when you choose love over anger, when you choose to step into the light instead of returning to the dark. And every time you choose this, you dig deeper into the hidden fortune of your soul. Thank you, Aries, for letting me share this sacred moment with you. May the next 7 days bring you peace, love, and the hidden fortune your soul has always deserved.